Hello, anybody, everybody, me, myself, whoever decided to watch this video. Hello. Um, I just want to record myself telling myself a story. And like I said, whoever watches this video, I guess y'all be listening to the story as well. So it's a story that happened to me when I was a young girl. I'm gonna say about 5 or 6 years old, and it's about apes. Well, monkeys, apes, I guess gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans. But at that young age, all of them was considered monkeys to me. So it's about a story that I experienced with monkeys. Like I said, probably was apes, but at the time it was just monkeys. And I was probably about 5, 6 years old. And what had happened was it was me, my older sister. She's a year older than me, and our cousins, and we all of us was around the same age, around the same ages. So it was 3 girls and 3 boys. And we always grew up together. We hung out together. We was very close when we was young. We was younger. So it happened. This incident happened. It was, I guess, during the summertime. Yeah, it was during the summertime because the weather was nice. It was during the daytime, maybe the afternoonish. And so, how can I say this? Well, so our older cousin probably was about 16, 17 years old. She was watching us while the adults had went out, to go do something. So me and my cousins and my sister, like I said, 6 of us, we playing outside. And the area we was playing at is like you walk up some steps from the sidewalk. So you walk up some steps and it's like this big open field. And then behind it, where the field at is like apartments or like townhouses, doors and whatnot. So if you were to live in one of the townhouses, you just walk out your door and then you see the field. So we was playing in that field, in front of, people doors and whatnot. It's like a grass field and it got like a sidewalk, a path and whatnot. So it was a nice size. It wasn't like big or anything, but it was nice size for kids. So, kick a ball around, throw a ball, all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, it was during the daytime, and we seen, we was outside playing. So we seen these helicopters in the sky, like they was flying low, and it was helicopters, and we seen a couple of them, go over our heads and just traveling, just going. So we, stopped playing, and we, was just looking up at them, because they was like loud and like a little, they was like lower than what they normally would be. So then somehow we got the idea to just be like, let's just yell help, like, like we need help or whatever. So we was just like, help, got our hands in the air and like, looking up at them, was like, help, we need help, like yelling help, even though we didn't need help, but we were just like, let's just yell help, whatever. So sure enough, one of them helicopters ended up landing. So as the helicopter was landing, we just was like looking. At this point, we was probably, like all of us was probably like halfway where the helicopter landed and like halfway to where like the doors was at for the townhouse, for like the apartments or whatever. So he was like midway. So he looking at the helicopter landing, I'm looking at the helicopter landing and like, okay, this about to be interesting. And I know for me, I was thinking like, oh my goodness, we're about to get in trouble because we got these people landing the helicopter, but we don't need no help. And I'm just like thinking like, say you do a prank call on, not a prank call, but you call like the police, 911, and then, the police answer and they show up at the door, but you be like, ain't nothing was wrong. You just called them just to call them and get in trouble for doing that, be like, don't be calling no police when ain't nothing going on. So, I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, we just called for help and this helicopter just landed. It was only one helicopter that landed. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, let me just, whatever. So basically the helicopter door opened and out comes out a monkey. Yes, a monkey. Not no human in a monkey suit, but a live monkey. Like I said, could have been an ape or gorilla, but it was like, to me, it was a monkey. And the monkey came out. So we looking like, what the heck? So the monkey had came out and, like jumped out and then was like moving his hands to tell us like to come here. So I heard my cousins scream. They was like, ah, and then they turned back and started running, away. They started running towards towards the house, towards the doors, to go inside. So I'm just standing there. And then for some, I ain't gonna say odd reason or just whatever, but I started walking to the monkey because I'm just like, I didn't feel like I was in harm or I was going to be in danger from, going to the monkey. Like I didn't think, they was going to do anything to me or whatever. So I'm like steady walking slowly to the monkey, just like, come on, come on. I just felt like, I don't know, calmness, like peace, like, okay, my friend, hi, that kind of thing. I didn't run. So I was walking towards a monkey. And then, so it's like, how can I say this? At the time, I didn't know anything about the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo painting, with the finger and whatnot. I didn't know anything about that, when I'm 5, 6 years old until like later on in life. And I'm like, oh, that's the same thing that happened with me and the finger. Because when I got to that monkey that was out there, or that ape, or that gorilla, but like I said, a monkey, he had his hand out. He or she had their hand out, like they fingertip out, like reaching me, and then so I was sticking my hand out, my finger out to, touch them as well. So I touched their fingertip. That was like the only thing that I can touch was a fingertip. So my sister, like I said, she's a year older than me. She pulled my hand down. And looked at me like I turned to her because it's like she did it so like hard and fast. And I turned to her and she was like, Dee Dee, run. And I'm like, what? She was like, run. And she just grabbed my hand and my arm and she just, started pulling me to run away, with the rest of them. So I just started running. I'm just like, okay, she got my hand, I guess I snapped out or whatever if I was in some kind of trance. I'm not saying that I was, but if I was, I guess, I got out of it because she grabbed my hand and we just started running. So we started running to the door and everybody else already knocking on the door and banging on the door and whatnot. So I had looked back to see, was they chasing us? Because at this point, I'm like, okay, like, am I in danger? I just felt like, oh my goodness, from her grabbing my arm, I just felt like, okay, I'm scared now. Or, it was just something like with the monkeys, like, oh, they about to get us, in a bad kind of way. So I had looked back and then so the monkey that was out, whatever that I touched, like they face, it's just like, I'm gonna say they eyes, really. I remember they eyes looked like sad, like maybe because I didn't go with them. I don't know if I supposed to have went with them, but he just looked like, he or she looked like a little bit disappointed and sad, like, oh, you don't want to play with me. I mean, I don't know, like that's how I felt, like, oh, he's sad, because I didn't go, I didn't touch him, I didn't hug him, or I didn't, whatever. I'm running away from him, so. And then so I watched him, with that face. And then he turned around and he hopped back in, got back in the helicopter, door closed. And then at this point, all of us had stopped knocking on the door. Well, I don't even think I was knocking on the door because only two of us can like reach the door. So everybody had turned back and we just, seeing the helicopter start riding up, going up in the sky. So as soon as the helicopter left, helicopter gone, that's when our older cousin decided to open the door. She had a lock for whatever reason. Don't have no daggone door lock. Like, we right in the front. Why would you have the door lock? But anyway, she opened the door. So she was like, what y'all knocking on the door for, all loud and crazy and hard and whatever. So we like, oh my goodness, the monkey was trying to get us. The monkey was trying to get us. And she's like, what are y'all talking about? So we trying to tell her. They was like, yeah, Dee Dee went to the monkey. And well, my nickname is Dee Dee. That's like my childhood nickname. My family called me They was like, Dee Dee went to the monkeys and they was about to get her and they was about to get us and this and that. And I was just like, she was like, what? Of course she thinking we all made it up or whatnot. So, but it happened. Like, this story actually happened. So, a couple of hours later or whatnot, our parents came, pick us up and we telling them the story. So they ain't believe us. It was like, okay, y'all making up stuff. We kids. So I guess they figured kids got an imagination. So, whatever. And then so like a couple of weeks later, we would bring up, to our parents or whatnot, and they would be like, yeah, y'all probably had the same dream. Like, I don't think that happened. Y'all probably had the same dream. Y'all probably took a nap or watched the movie. And we was like, no, how all of us have the same dream. So till this day, like, if we ever have like a family event, like a reunion or just something, once in a while, like our older aunts or uncles or whatever would bring up, just like to bring up, yeah, y'all remember that time y'all was young, y'all talking about monkeys was in a helicopter. We was like, yeah, we don't really talk about it now, but, once in a while somebody would bring it up and it's like, yeah, it happened, and, like it happened. So, yeah, it happened. So, one of the reasons why why I wanted to talk to myself or just put it out there is because I'm not sure if anybody else done had experience with monkeys, apes or something in the helicopter landing and y'all touched fingertips or was about to or got taken with monkeys or apes. And like I said, that fingertip touch, it was like the 16th chapel years later. I'm a teenager and I'm like, oh, that's like the same thing like kind of happened with me with the fingertip touch. And then the E.T. movie also, it's like a poster with E.T. and a boy, they touching fingertips. So I'm like, hey, what's that about with me? So I'm like, am I connected to some stuff? Like I said, if anybody else had experience with that kind of thing with helicopters and monkeys, I would like to know, to see if there are any connections. And also, I guess, what am I about to say? In the movie The Planet of the Apes, like the one that came out, I don't know, like in the 2000s or whatnot, that came on, and I'm sorry, I know I keep saying or whatnot. That's just, that's just me. But the movie came, I don't know what year, but it was like a couple of years ago it came out, and it was with the little girl who was she wasn't talking. This little girl, I guess her family or somebody had passed away, or something happened to them, so the apes found her, and then she just started traveling with the apes. And I think she was probably autistic or just like quiet, so she wasn't really communicating. And that kind of how I was when I was a little girl. Like, I was like a mute, kind of say. Like, I didn't verbally talk. And then when I did, I used to stutter like a lot. But that's a whole nother thing. But anyways, when that movie came on, I was like, oh, that little girl kind of reminds me of myself, like, with the monkeys. And I'm just like, why is these movies coming on? Then like another Planet of the Apes came on, I think before that one, with Caesar and whatnot. Yeah, again with the whatnot. But anyways, maybe like 2 years ago, I had watched the Planet of the Apes, and there's a whole lot of Planet of the Apes movies. Like, I didn't really realize that until like a couple of years ago, because one movie that came out in the 70s, I think the series started off like in the late 60s, but more so a lot of the movies was like in the 1970s. And those are some good movies to watch. I think I only probably watched 2 of them from like the 1970s. But one of the movies that I watched from the 1970s, it was pretty interesting. It was very interesting how can I say this? How Caesar had to like dumb himself down to fit in. Like, he had to blend in. He couldn't let the other apes know. Well, first of all, the humans was controlling the apes. Well, not controlling. There was like having the apes as pets. Mind you, these apes and monkeys and chimpanzees and gorillas, they was like the same height as these, it's the humans in the movie or whatever. So Caesar had came down with his owner, and if something happened to his owner, ain't gonna go all into that part. But Caesar had to blend in with the rest of the and monkeys and gorillas and whatnot. He had to blend in. That means he couldn't talk. So during that movie, the humans was training these monkeys and gorillas and whatnot to serve the humans. Far as like they was teaching them how to make a bed, how to make drinks, how to wash their hands, soap, water, paper towel, how to cook, how to clean, how to, take orders. So the humans, and then they had the apes had different colored jumpsuits on and whatnot. So let me stop saying whatnot. So Caesar basically knew how to do all this stuff because he didn't grow up with these monkeys and whatnot. He grew up with his owner. His owner was teaching him how to talk, how to read, how to do all this stuff anyway. So when he had to blend in with the rest of them, Caesar wasn't really thinking like, oh, let me blend in at first. He was like, well, I know how to wash my hands, so I'm gonna wash my hands right. Well, I know how to do this, this like a piece of cake. Well, I know my colors, I know all of this. But then Caesar started realizing like, wait a minute, let me not draw too much attention to myself. I already can't speak. I got to make sounds. So let me just observe and just blend in and act like I don't know how to do certain things when Caesar knew how to do that. So at times, like years ago, and sometimes even now, I'll be feeling like that's how I am. I'm like just observing a whole lot of stuff that's on TV or just looking at different people. And then like I keep my mouth closed because I'm just like it's like I can't explain. It's like some things I just watch people and I'm just be shaking my head like, man, if y'all only knew, So it's like, let me just pretend like I don't know what's going on, So let me just blend in, until the time is right when I'm just like, okay, this is what it is. So I'm taking that approach kind of sort of now. But I think it came out in the early 1970s, like 1972. The movie that I'm talking about it's called Planet of the Apes something. So basically, I'm just saying all this is because, the movie came on Planet of the Apes recently, like a couple of them. So that made me think of the 1970 movie that I seen like years ago. And, I'm thinking about what happened to me with the monkeys in the helicopter. So I'm just like, is there really a Planet of the Apes? Like, is these monkeys coming back? Are these apes about to come back? And then lately I've been seeing a whole lot of, these airplanes, not really helicopters, but I've been seeing a whole lot of airplanes in the sky. So that got me thinking, of course people travel. But I'm like, is these really airplanes in the sky? Or is there, other kind of ships? Or was a helicopter actually not even really a helicopter? Was it like transform into a helicopter to please children? I don't know, it's just things that I just be thinking about. So, yeah. So I don't know. Hey, they got a couple of movies of the Planet of the Apes. And it's like, is that really what's coming up? Everybody looking for something to, chariots in the sky and spaceships and stuff. So I'm like, these monkeys, the apes, gorillas, chimpanzees. Oh, and another thing, like how they communicate with like sign language and stuff. So to me personally, I feel as though that should be like a universal language, sign language, because most of us, most of us is born with, are born with hands, with two hands. There are, of course, some special people who are born with no hands or one arm, one hand, that's special cases. But for the most part, a lot of us are born with two hands. So if sign language is a universal language, everybody will be able to communicate with each other, no matter what country or nationality, people are. It's like, the same sign language. If you want, hey, I'm hungry, do that sign language for I'm hungry, I want some milk, I'm tired, or how much is this, or can I get this, or where is this located at? Like, it would be the sound, everybody using the same sign language everywhere, using your hands. So I feel as though that actually should be the language being taught, because I do believe, like, I don't know, I just think that it'll be so much easier, and plus you won't have to hear a whole lot of people voices and just be talking, and it'll be, you probably have to look at their face, because even when I watch TV sometimes and people be doing sign language and they're like, they facial expressions, I'll be like, what in the world? Some of them be a little bit, comical or whatever, but I guess that's the facial expressions that's made for that sign language. I don't know. But yeah, and let's see, anything else that I want to say to myself? Like I said, if anybody watched this video, okay. Nobody don't watch this video, then okay. And just for me, I guess that's about it. Yeah, so I guess if I want to think about something else, I will make another video. All right. Bye.